Let them do it. I mean, at this point, I don't even care, because at this point, it doesn't matter which faction is running this country. They're sold out to Satan. Even, with some of these real patriots standing up against, the Bushites and the criminals, Nazis that are running our government, it just doesn't look like there's much of a chance for America to ever be restored at this point, because those who will come on charge, you get rid of some criminals, and we're going to end up with more. And the Christians are always the ones in the center of all these factions that are the main target to be gotten rid of. So any way you look at it, it doesn't matter who's in charge of our government, the Christians are going to be persecuted, they're going to be killed off, because they're too much of a nuisance and in the way. And so, let the factions fight it out. I'm not going to help them out. Yeah, we could see some fireworks here August, September. Also, another thing dominant in September is the Temple Mount in Israel. Could see some things happening over there. Just some things to keep an eye out on. I released an article on my news list this week about from Drunvalo, Melchizedek is his name, and Diane Cooper had interviewed him. And he's real new age, and he has a different spin on things. But what I thought was interesting, a lot of these things you have to chew the grass and spit out the hay, is that he was saying 60 million children alone have non-human DNA. And it goes along with the fact of Daniel forewarning in the last days empire, iron being mixed with miry clay. I know that is alien seed mixed with human seed. We're going to see a lot of hybrid contamination of human DNA. It was going to be the dominant power nation in the last days. And that's what we're seeing. And so the New Agers are coming out with the info, of course, in their own angles. And what he calls this is he divides three different kinds of children emerging in the world today. One being the super psychic children of China, the second being the indigo children, and the third are called the children of AIDS. And what he does is he breaks it down, and he talks about the super psychics of China, which are just very psychic, pass every psychic test. You can turn cards over in another room, and they'll tell you what they are, and they're just very psychic kids. And they're not just in China. Apparently this type of kid has been spreading all over the world. In the U.S., we refer to them more as indigo children. And these indigo children have also been called star children. Children born with special gifts. You've seen this in the movies. Hollywood's been conditioning X-Men 2, X-Men, the original, and these movies conditioning people, even spy kids, for the fact that kids have special powers and talents. And so what it is it's their bloodlines, it's their heredity, they're half human, half alien. Another one coming out is the children of AIDS. And so these are kids that are born and tested positive for AIDS, and then a year later, even several years later, they're tested again, and they have no trace of AIDS or HIV. And so what they've been doing is they've noticed that the human DNA all over the world has 20 codons turned on at all times of their own DNA. They're called codons. But a lot of these AIDS kids have 24 turned on. It's more than any other human being, and it helps these kids have a stronger immune system. So what they're doing is they're finding out that a lot of kids being born with 24 of their codons of their DNA strand being turned on instead of the normal 20. And so I think that what they're also finding now is that this is also being a phenomena that's going on with adults. It's something that's kind of new, something they're just finding out now. And I know that the New Agers have some kind of thing about changing your DNA and all this stuff, and And that's exactly what it is. People are showing up all over the place, born with it or not, with new DNA. The 24 codons turned down instead of the 20. And so it's a mutation type of thing that's gone on. And so I've always been against all of this New Age dribble about, their diet programs and their meditation. And, yeah, yoga works in that way, too, because they have a lot of these different religions and things that they do to increase awareness, what they use different terminologies to hide the fact. What they're really trying to do is get humans to turn on those 4 extra codons in their DNA. You'll hear a lot of it in their ascension garbage dribble, ascending to new heights, becoming more spiritually aware. They mask it with terminology. And I've always felt that this exact reason they're doing it is that so humans become more viable for possession by aliens. Because they can walk right in. We think of it as demonic possession, where evil spirits will possess a person, and that does happen. But what we're looking at now is also an alien possession, where aliens can step in and possess a person. And I've referred to that before as soul scalping, and where they step in, they take over a person's soul, they take over their body, I guess you should say. And the real person who owns that body, their soul is basically trapped at that point. Their body is being controlled by an outside being, by an alien. And sometimes they've done things where these people's souls can be taken out of their bodies and imprisoned. They can be imprisoned in underground bases. And so I talked a little bit about that, too, in my article, The Prisoners of Dulce Base, a joint human and alien base in New Mexico, Dulce, New Mexico. You can read about soul scalping and what happens there, and it's part of the article I wrote in that, too, as well. And so it's happening. It's happening. And, you just don't want to, the Lord created us the way we are, and, you don't need to change your DNA to become more spiritually aware. Don't fall for this New Age garbage, the doctrines that they're coming out with, because it just makes you more of a candidate for alien possession. That's all it is. And you're going to see a lot of the stuff coming up. Everything that's come out of the New Age movement has eventually hit our churches, and what they do is mask the terminology. They hide it. They use different spiritual terms so that people don't really understand what they're really talking about. And the New Agers are working with church leaders. You can watch 5 minutes of TBN and see that. If they're not working on compromise called unity, and the Lord never told us to compromise Him or His gospel, His message. We're never to compromise with the world to get along with them for the sake of unity. The Lord brought a sword, not a blanket, so we could all share the same blanket. He brought a sword, division, because we would always be outsiders. We would always be strangers to the world, those who follow the Most High. And so unity is compromise, and it's a tool of Satan's for this one world religion that he's going to bring about, this one world government. And you have all of these church people that people respect that are going to tout, and already are. I mean, I sat and watched this thing on TBN for 5 minutes the other day, and right after Chuck Colson, they brought on some Catholic guy. Of course, he didn't have on his Catholic garb. But his title, he was a director from some Catholic thing, and he was there for unity, to promote unity among the churches. And so they're traveling around together at these seminars to promote unity and tolerance. And basically what they're not telling you is just one big compromise. And so, you stay away from that stuff. Another thing is this New Age stuff coming in. I'm not going to have time to get into it tonight, but I will next week. Because Larry's going to be on in about a couple minutes. We're going to take a break, and then Larry Lawson's going to be on. But I'm going to get into some of their plans. You can read about the Sananda if you want to do a Google on Sananda. And he has websites all over the internet. He looks like Jesus Christ of the Bible that the churches have